Alright guys, welcome back to our Let's Play.
Yeah, and
Woo!
this is probably the second final part.
Second.
Okay.
Part 2 of the finale.
Okay.
Oh yeah, body.
So last time we were here, we found out that Wargrave is dead again.
Again.
So, in other words, we need to report the body.
Yes.
Who is sus?
Okay.
Ah, damn! I wish I knew the Danganronpa reference I could use.
All right. And last time, Lombard was taking care of the bonfire on the peak of the island. So let's go check him out. Let's take this way. A slightly more.
Ding dong. There.
Oh, just one quick question. So, who was it that was suspecting it was Blore?
Which one's Blore?
Blue shirt. Okay.
Wanna be?
Well, he's been exonerated.
Oh, hey, another dead body. We need to go report it.
Oh,
Ding dong, ding dong. A body has been discovered.
It's the wannabe Daphne. She's right there.
Oh, but there was one on my... Wait there a moment.
Okay.
That's nuts.
Yep, his head was smashed in with a marble clock.
It was on my mantle. When Pete escorted me to my room, it must have been already gone. Why not you?
Computer doesn't like me right now.
Wait!
Here's the marble clock.
Dear Hunter left. Oh,
Nope,
there
he's
he
back.
is. Welcome back.
Computer equipment and put it in the honest.
Yeah, no, that seems sus. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it's
And right
wannabe.
outside her window, too.
It's wannabe Daphne.
It's kind of funny since we say that, since, And Then There Were None, the novel came out, what, a good 20 years? Almost 30 years? Yeah, 30 years before Scooby-Doo. Wait, I'm going the wrong way.
Catch me.
Blore. Bye, Blore.
There it is.
We need to go report body. We saw wannabe Daphne vent.
A body has been discovered. After a certain amount of time, the class trial will begin.
Huh, Lombard's not here. Let's go look for him. Maybe he's on the beach.
He died.
No, Lombard's still alive. He was the other guy that was hitting on wannabe Daphne.
Oh, you mean Patrick?
No, the character we're playing as is Patrick.
Oh.
Maybe this end of the beach? Oh. Oh.
Oh.
Who thought it was Armstrong?
Dead for hours. And by the looks of him, he's been in the sea most of that time.
Go check the general real quick.
Chapter 9. Two little sailor boys sitting in the sun.
Wrong
One
general.
got frizzled
Sorry.
up, then there was
Wrong general.
Don't try to get in. I'm pointing the gun at the door.
I'm
Jordan
not the
thought it was
killer.
Armstrong,
You're
I
trying
thought.
to make me believe...
No, she thought it was Blore.
Armstrong,
No one thought
Yeah.
it was...
his body washed up on the rocks, and Wargrave is sitting in the screening room, dead, again.
That's impossible.
I swear it. This time he was bludgeoned with the law book he wrote. I think that's how he was originally meant to die.
The next rhyme. Two little sailor boys sitting in the sun. One got frizzled up. That means we'll be safe till morning, doesn't it? No one can be frizzled up at night.
Can be frizzled
Get
up
torch.
at night.
Torch.
Torch. So... The bonfire. Oh, here's a weird thing I noticed. His body's back in here now.
Oh.
Okay.
Not creepy.
But when you check Armstrong and Blor's room, their bodies are not there. But then they're not in the same spots where you found them. So I have no idea what the hell Patrick did with their bodies. Go figure that one out.
Are you saying that it's Patrick?
Might be.
I mean,
Well,
it could be like that. It could be like that Johnny Depp movie where, like, he thought that someone was killing his ex-wife when actually he killed his ex-wife. Spoiler alert.
What movie are you talking?
That
Leonardo
part sounds
DiCaprio.
really familiar. Like I've heard it somewhere before.
I don't think it was Leonardo DiCaprio. It was a Johnny Depp movie, and he was like a crazy a writer. But it wasn't Finding Neverland because he was also a crazy writer in that movie.
Okay.
I'll have to
Alright.
look that up.
So this
movie?
I don't know how to really work this in, but so we know Lombard's manning the bonfire.
Mm-hmm.
So so he can live or die, depending on what we do. If we go run there now, he's gonna live. But if we just dick around, he's gonna die.
Well, let's go get him.
Okay. Because I'm not sure how the developers were supposed to work in the logic of how how the player would end up having him die. It's mostly you're supposed to just essentially run around and not knowing what the fuck you're doing.
Like, curious to know what that movie is. Okay. Who's that?
Lombard.
Oh.
Lombard, listen to me. Blore is dead. Armstrong's dead. So is Wargrave. You're next. You have to be.
That may be your plan, but it won't work.
There's no way Owen can approach you without being seen. Correct?
As we're proving right now.
So it must be some sort of trap. Already set before you came up here.
What sort of trap?
The rhyme. Two little sailor boys sitting in the sun. One got frizzled up. The only thing approaching the sun on this island right now is that fire. Get away from
We're
it.
talking about... That's the jump.
Let's tackle him while jumping
Wait.
through the fire.
What movie was it?
Secret window.
I like
Was
a
it
good
Secret
explosion
Window?
as much as the next fellow.
I
I owe you
know it
an
wasn't
apology
Finding
now,
Neverland.
and my thanks for saving
Okay,
my
hold
life.
on.
Believe me, I wasn't sure. You out of everyone had been responsible for the most deaths.
Your detecting skills play.
You're
big
right,
role
it
there,
was
boy.
Secret Window.
You see, I'm not Philip Lombard. My name is
Oh.
Charles Morley. Got papers to prove it too. Phil was a friend of mine. He committed suicide a couple of weeks ago. I was at his place when the solicitor Morris rang up. It sounded suspicious. I thought it might have something to do with Phil's death. I wanted to get to the bottom of it, so I came along in his place. Besides, 100 guineas is 100 guineas.
So you're no murderer.
I'll confess I've thought of murdering you more than once the past few days.
Listen, Lombard. Morley. I need to ask you a terrific favor.
You've earned the right.
Can you play dead for a while? Stay out of sight.
Vera must be the killer.
The jury's still out as far as I'm concerned. But if Owen thinks you're out of the way, he may try for me.
Or Vera, if she's innocent.
Which is why I have to get back to the house.
Say, old man, if you want to get into the house without making a racket, the window to my bathroom is open. I used it to get out on the balcony and, make sure Vera was safe.
Uh-huh. Okay, thanks for the tip.
Pointless tip.
Will you lie low? Come running if there's trouble.
It'll be a pleasure to return the favor, old man.
Well, he just suddenly became our best friend.
Chapter 10.
I mean, wouldn't you if you got saved?
All alone. He
Yeah.
hadn't hanged himself, and then there were none.
I know, we blinked and we're already on chapter 10.
Wait, did he die already?
Nope, he lived.
From upstairs.
Okay.
We saved him.
Okay.
If we had dicked around and not gone immediately there, he would have died. Now to confront Vera.
Well, that's not.
But I don't understand. How can you be here? How could you get into my room so easily?
Whatever.
That sounded
Dun
sus.
dun dun!
Wait, what?
As a former and actually
Emily Brent.
current owner of this house,
Didn't
What?
she die earlier?
Yep.
I have for several years. I saw
So is
to it
this
that
a
Emily
ghost?
Brent died 2
Nope.
weeks ago. I took her place for the weekend. My finest performance, I think. Worthy of the Oscar the Academy always refused me.
But the bee stings.
Hurt like hell and did nothing for my complexion. But Emily Brent was allergic, not me. It's my apiary after all.
Who are
Oh.
you?
My name is Gabrielle Steele. You've seen my posters in the screening room.
The actress. Some scandal in Hollywood.
Scandal? Well, I guess if you call trying to kill your leading man a scandal, yes it was. My final picture, Last
Oh, if
of
it's
the
not
Borgias.
obvious, the
Something
picture of the
happened.
woman in the background,
Lillian Borgia,
that's
the character
her.
I portrayed.
Hmm.
One day on the set, suddenly she was inside my head. She wormed her way in. That's the only way I can think to explain it. Telling me to do things. Showing me how. They called it a breakdown. I now like to think of it as a meeting of two minds.
But why this elaborate plot? Why kill all these people? Why?
How is your mouth moving? How are you
Wargrave,
talking
of
without your
course.
mouth moving?
He was absolutely right. He was the central character in our little drama.
The Edward Seaton trial?
Yes, Edward Seaton. My love. My life. We met some years ago when I first came to London to star in a play in the West End. Then, after the incident in Hollywood, I came back to England to rest. They wanted me to rest. Edward and I fell in love. I cannot describe to you the depth of our love. You wouldn't understand. I've seen how you flirted with Lombard and Narracott, playing them off against one another.
Did I? I was frightened and confused.
I suppose that's as good an explanation as any. I was never confused. Edward was an innocent man railroaded by that venomous old judge simply to prove a point. That it was his courtroom, his law. 3 days Edward suffered. He couldn't bear the shame or what it would do to me. He killed himself for me. I wanted Wargrave to suffer those 3 days, watching as death approached, powerless to prevent it.
But why the rest of us?
I met Miss Brent at a resort soon after I arrived in England. Hateful old hag. I think I caught her qualities quite nicely. I heard how she had
Yeah.
punished Beatrice
Fuck.
Taylor for her so-called
Hey, still
sin.
pretty hateful.
Drove her to take her own life, just as Wargrave had driven Edward to suicide. I wanted to extend Wargrave's torture for 3 excruciating days. What better way than to make him watch others die? Crimes committed under his very nose. Deaths he was helpless to prevent. How his ego must have been scraped raw.
You researched? Found us all?
Others who had apparently escaped justice, like Miss Brent, with the help of my attorney, Archibald Morris.
How could he agree to help with such a mad plan?
Mad? Madmen kill for no reason, no sense of justice at all. I only killed those who deserved to die. And Morris was a perfect little lawyer, asking no questions as long as the money was good. He'd been responsible for a few miscarriages of justice on his own, so killing him was not a serious moral dilemma. Then the stage was set. We arrived on my island, and the play began. The trickiest part was goading Armstrong into getting so drunk he wouldn't notice the imperceptible pulse that remained after I took the curare. A few bee stings, and then a liberal application of Bellman's universal embrocation to complete the effect. It causes a nasty rash. He saw what he expected to see, a severe allergic reaction that can only result in death.
You killed the judge twice.
Hardly. The first time was some fool scheme he cooked up on his own with Armstrong, so he could pretend to be dead and catch Mr. Owen. I admit stealing Miss Brent's grey yarn and fashioning a wig from it was a nice touch. I was so angry. I couldn't think who had done it or why. I thought braining him with his own law book would be enough to fit the Chancery rhyme.
If you shoot me, you'll be arrested. Patrick will catch you.
I'll deal with Mr. Narracott presently. Then I'll take poison. This ring I wear is a prop from the Borgia movie. Came in very handy this weekend. First for Marston, then Ethel, then my own Curari. And now, here we are. Once I'm dead, you can hang yourself and complete the rhyme.
And if I refuse to hang myself?
My dear, what do you think will happen to you if you're the only person found alive on an island with 10 dead bodies? If you don't hang yourself, the law most certainly will.
Patrick!
Okay, guys, how do we go about saving her?
What?
Save her.
Take care of the lady. What are the gun? Go for the gun.
Surely get a shot off before I reached her.
Okay. Whatever.
I need to save Vera, but how? I have to get rid of that gun.
What do we have?
Let's see, what do we
We
have?
have cheese.
Yes, let's throw the cheese.
I have to do something fast, but that isn't it.
Shovel?
The shovel. Use a shovel.
Ace.
I have to do something fast, but that isn't it.
What?
God damn it.
Vase.
Which one?
Vase.
Vas?
Vase.
Oh, that's a cocktail shaker.
Throw it. Chuck it.
Chug it.
I have to do something fast.
Nope.
That-
Maybe something
So-
in another room? I don't know.
To be something that we have. Flashlight. Light bulb.
Flashlight.
I have to do something.
Nope.
What the hey?
The hell?
Okay, like she's just gonna stand around, wait
Yeah,
for us,
we
to,
figured this
choose
out.
the right
Yeah,
object.
There isn't a timer.
There is no timer?
There isn't a timer for some reason. But you can
Weird.
fail this. It is?
What happens if you click on her feet? I don't understand.
Can't risk grabbing for the gun. She'd surely get a shot off before I reached her.
Oh, come on.
Picture or the lamp?
Kill it.
Nope. Wrong answer.
You killed her, Narracott.
Pretty sure you shot her. And why are you putting down the gun?
Well,
Alvera is dead, and Brent is dead. For realsies this time. I don't know how the fuck that worked either.
that shouldn't have worked.
Thanks
We
for writing
killed
that
Vera,
statement,
but okay.
Maude. I mean, Morley. My
Okay, to be fair, I
Those
did kill her because I
confessions
did know the
these
right
things
answer,
are
so...
know you want.
What was the right
Mother.
After
answer?
saving my life.
We had to throw the marble
Not
clock.
even, old man. I still
I-
owe you. You remember to look for Charles Morley in the London
That would have
Galaxy
resulted
if
in
you
the good
ever
ending,
need
considering
anything.
both of them survived.
As far as I'm concerned, you're a better man in a tight spot than Lombard ever was.
Suicide door.
So long. This little sailor boy isn't going near the sea for a long time to come.
I don't blame you.
There's no way we should have heard all of that.
Okay. So, do you guys want to try that again with the good ending?
Yeah, did the good
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
the Disney person in me just wants a happy ending.
ending.
Okay.
Let me guess
And that's-
if the happy ending is him ending up with Vera.
Yes.
Pretty sure I didn't. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this little stupid thing.
What the hell?
Wiimote.
God damn it.
There we go. Even if I failed it, I would have gotten another chance to do it again. And this happened again. She falls over neatly into the noose
Somehow. What?
somehow. I guess she's tall
Is it-
enough and it was close enough?
Not realistic.
No, it's not. In the original book, the noose was hanging from the roof of the ceiling of the room. In Vera's room.
Hmm,
Thank you.
that would make.
That's
Yeah.
right.
If you ever need a
But then again, Emily wasn't the killer in the book.
Directory.
Hmm.
Treat her right, Narracott. As far as I'm concerned, you're a better man in a tight spot than Phil ever was. This little sailor boy isn't going near the sea for a long time to come.
Will you listen to me now?
If you insist.
Hugo and Cyril went.
I mean,
out
it's
to
a
the beach
bad
that day.
coloring
By the time I
for
arrived,
her.
Cyril was out
Yeah.
too far. It was too
Even
late
though it
to
just
reach him.
screams
Hugo claimed
Daphne.
he'd been distracted helping a passerby with
It
the
screams Daphne,
I
but
knew
Daphne
I
had a
I
better
thought I
hair
loved
color
him,
than
So I
that.
told the coroner's
Yeah.
inquest that it was
And a better
I
hair
who'd been
texture.
on the
Actually, I'm
beach.
pretty sure her
Later,
hair
when
texture
I was
in the
cleared,
Scooby-Doo game
Hugo
we played was
jubilant,
better.
Yet his feelings for me
Was
seemed to
better.
have vanished. I realized
Pretty
I'd
sad.
served my purpose. How would it have looked if the boy who stood between him and a fortune died while in his charge? He didn't think he'd done anything wrong. That was the most frightening part. Cyril wanted to swim out to the rocks. All Hugo did was let him.
Mr. Owen invited the wrong guest. It should have been Hugo out there.
No. I should have told the police the truth in the first place. I will now. I have no more right to subvert justice than Mr. Owen. Where is your brother?
Plymouth, turning himself in.
Like a wig that she's
Thanks to
wearing.
your and Lombard, Morley's statements, he's sure to be exonerated.
And us?
Are you still confused?
No. I'm certain now. What about you?
Well, there's another ending to that 10 little sailor boys rhyme. One little sailor boy left all alone. He got married, and then there were none.
That ending sounds lame. Yeah. So in the original, okay. So
I
turns
want
out-
to gag. I want to gag. Why did I go? Why did I want to see that ending? I
I have
gagged.
prepared a special reward for you. The original ending to our little story is somewhat different than the one you have just experienced.
The original
If
ending.
you can complete a final puzzle, childishly simple really, you will be able to learn the original solution to "And Then There Were None," as Dame Agatha Christie first wrote it. Interested? Then your first step is to make your way to the dining room for a final treat.
Okay, so here's a quick question for you. Who do you think the original killer was? If it wasn't Emily.
Hmm.
Any ideas? Also, and keep in mind, Patrick Narracott wasn't in the original book either. So there was only the original 10 characters.
It was Vera.
What do you guys think?
The last
Are
little...
you just calling out Vera because she's Daphne?
Okay. Alright. So, so the ending that we got is where Patrick and Vera wind up together is actually very reminiscent of the play ending that Agatha Christie wrote. Where the last one, where Lombard and Vera survive and they end up together. Turns out the both of them were innocent of their crimes. So, hence the excuse on why they live. Turns out Lombard that we knew wasn't actually Lombard. He was actually Charles Morley, a friend of Lombard. And Vera's backstory slightly changed, where she let Cyril go out to swim out to the rock and drown. Where in the revised version, her boyfriend Hugo, who was the half brother of Cyril, let Cyril swim out to the rock. And she just covered for him.
Okay.
Yep.
Third party?
Put that there for a second. Take that out. Hello again.
The film has been spoiled.
Naturally.
Okay, you guys ready for the original ending?
Sure.
Or
I think it's I personally prefer the original ending over the game's ending.
From my earliest youth, I realized that my nature was a mass of contradictions. I have an incurably romantic imagination, and it was for this reason that I adopted a rather childish and unreliable approach, writing my confession, enclosing it in a bottle, and casting it into the waves. There is a 100-to-1 chance that this confession may be found, and then a hitherto unsolved murder mystery will be explained. Another trait born of my contradictory nature is my sadistic delight in causing death. From an early age, I knew very strongly the lust to kill. And yet, I was also indoctrinated with a strong sense of justice. I have always felt that the innocent should be spared and the guilty punished. With this mental makeup, it was inevitable that I would adopt the law as my profession. After ascending to the bench, I found that most of my baser desires were quenched in a legal and just way. And yet of late, I have felt a nagging urge, one that will not free me from its insistent grip. That is the urge to commit a murder myself. I fancied myself an artist in crime, and my imagination waxed secretly to this colossal force. However, I was restrained by my innate sense of justice. The innocent must not suffer. And then, quite suddenly, the solution came to me. I would punish those that the law could not touch. In my years on the bench, there were many cases that frustrated my will, cases wherein I knew the accused to be guilty, and yet the evidence was such that he could never be convicted. Cases of deliberate murder that were quite untouchable within the confines of the law. So I determined to commit not just one murder, but murder on a grand scale. A childish rhyme of my infancy came back to me, the rhyme of the 10 little sailor boys. Something about it fascinated me, the inexorable diminishment, the sense of inevitability. And so I began, secretly, to collect victims. I will not go into detail about how this was accomplished. Suffice to say, I was convinced of the guilt of every one of my victims, and I knew enough about them via my connections to be able to lure each one to Shipwreck Island with an appropriate bait. And now to the mechanics of the actual crime. In what I took as a sign, none of my plans misfired, and all of my guests arrived at Shipwreck Island on the 8th of August. The party included myself. The order of the deaths were dictated by what I viewed as my victims' varying degrees of guilt. Those whose guilt was lightest should go first, and not suffer the increasing mental strain and fear reserved for the more cold-blooded offenders. The first death had already occurred. Archibald Morris, a shady little dope peddler, had set up the details for me, renting the island, sending the letters, and recording the gramophone record before I ended his life with a dose of potassium cyanide. Anthony Marsden and Mrs. Rogers died next, one instantaneously, the other in a peaceful sleep. Marsden's crime was one of circumstance and his amoral nature. Mrs. Rogers, I had no doubt, acted largely under the influence of her husband. Their murders were the easiest. Poison easily slipped into a glass for each of them, as at this point no one had any reason to be suspicious. General Mackenzie met his death quite painlessly and never heard me approach. I am convinced that he was dead long before he ever came to Shipwreck Island. At this point, I found it necessary to recruit an ally. Dr. Armstrong seemed the most suited to this task, as it was inconceivable to him that a man of my standing could be a murderer. He was taken in with no resistance. I killed Rogers on the morning of the 10th. He too did not hear me approach. During the chaos arising from finding his body, I slipped into Lombard's room and abstracted his revolver. At breakfast, I slipped my last dose of poison into Miss Brent's coffee. It was enough to render her unconscious, and I returned a short time later to inject a strong dose of cyanide into her. It was just after this that I intimated to Armstrong that we must carry our plan into effect, that I must appear to be the next victim. This would, perhaps, rattle the murderer, and at any rate, would allow me to move about the house and spy on whom I wished. A gunshot and some red mud on the forehead was all it took. After all, it was only Armstrong who examined me closely. After returning the revolver to Lombard's room, I had a rendezvous set up with Armstrong on the edge of a cliff. He was still quite unsuspicious, although he ought to have been warned by the nursery rhyme, "A red herring swallowed one." Once at the cliff, I uttered an exclamation, leaned over the cliff. Wasn't that the mouth of a cave? He leaned right over. A swift push sent him quickly into the heaving sea below. He took the red herring, all right. And now came the moment I had anticipated. 3 people who were so frightened of each other that anything might happen. And one of them had a revolver. I watched them from the windows of the house. When Blore came up alone, I had the big marble clock poised ready. Exit Blore. From my window, I saw Vera shoot Lombard. I always thought she was a match for him and more. I then immediately set the stage in her bedroom. It was an interesting experiment. Would the knowledge of her own guilt, the hypnotic suggestion of her surroundings, and the nervous tension of having just shot a man be enough to coerce her into taking her own life? It was. Vera Claythorne hanged herself before my very eyes as I stood in the shadow of the wardrobe. And now I shall finish writing this. I shall enclose it and seal it in a bottle and throw the bottle into the sea. Why? Yes. Why? I suppose I have a pitiful human wish that someone should know just how clever I have been. I must go now and finish this. It is essential that my body be found in accordance with the record kept by my fellow victims. My own life is of no consequence. My doctors tell me I have a month to live at most. I do not wish to die the death of the invalid patient, steeped to the gills in drugs, culminating in a complete loss of human dignity. I will instead be found laid neatly in my bed, shot through the forehead. When the sea goes down, there will come from the mainland boats and men, and they will find 10 dead bodies and an unsolved problem on Shipwreck Island. Signed, Lawrence Wargrave.
Well, that's And Then There Were None.
Jesus Christ.
Thoughts?
Well. Okay.
All sorts of terms. Jesus.
Yeah, I know. The game is in questionable quality, but the story.
Story was. I like
It was nice.
Yeah, story was good.
I personally don't think that the motives for Gabrielle Steele were as interesting as Wargrave's. Yeah. Especially since Wargrave's motives didn't fit his character so well.
Mm-hmm.
Where it really was just a matter of like he wants to be an angel of justice kind of thing. A la Light Yagami from Death Note.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad you guys seem to enjoy this.
Yeah, it was good. I'm sorry, I'm just sleepy.
Yeah, that's alright.
If you're sleepy, get some sleep.